everyone. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Mugello for Ferrari Challenge North America Race 2. In fact, the final race of what has been an awesome season in Ferrari Challenge North America. We pitch together our Pirelli drivers, our Pirelli Am drivers, our Shell drivers, and our Shell Am drivers here in Mugello. It has to be said this afternoon, our North American drivers have got about the best of the weather conditions. You can see there from some of the shots taken earlier on in our Finale Mondiale event that we've had quite some rainfall. But at the moment, I'm touching wood and crossing fingers. Everything is pretty dry, and you can see just a glimpse of blue sky. The air temperature is 19 degrees, track temperature is 21 degrees. There is a wind of around about 11 kilometers per hour. So by far and away the nicest conditions that the pit lane have offered to Ludovica this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back on the grid of Mugello circuit. Everything is ready for the last act of Ferrari Challenge North America. Yesterday was a very hard race for all the drivers in this moment. As you can see, he arrived the champion of Trofeo Pirelli of North America, Matt Kojeski, which yesterday made the fastest lap, the pole position, and win a race. But now I want to dive into this magical and fantastic atmosphere of the challenge of North America with another champion, Brian Cook, who yesterday has crowned the champion of Pirelli Am. Brian, how are you?
I'm really good, really excited. This is going to be fun.
What do you expect from today, from the race of today?
I feel like our pace is really good in the dry, probably better than the way we were yesterday. So the plan is just to get out there and find a gap and keep it clean.
And when you, or did you realize that you are a champion of Pirelli Am?
So from yesterday?
Yeah. Did you realize that you are the champion of the trophy of Pirelli Am?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Have a good race. And now, very quickly, I wanted to discover more about the sensation in this moment. One of the most iconic photo on the grid, and the helicopter over here. And now I want to go to the poleman, Matt, because he is one of the most protagonists, the most important protagonist of this series of the prancing horse, and today will be a very important race for him. Matt, good afternoon, how are you?
Well, thank you. Ready to get this race on. Roberto Perina gave us a good run yesterday. Our car just didn't adapt as well as his did, and but I like what we have. I think we'll be just fine.
And Matt, after race 2, the focus is about Finale Mondiale, the great event of Finale Mondiale for you.
Absolutely, that's the primary focus. So if we end up in any jeopardizing situations today, we'll play it safe. As I've said yesterday, our big focus is to try and take the big weekend trophy back to North America.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Back to you guys.
Well, you can see the motivation there from Matt Kojeski. As he says, it's to take the big World Final trophy back to North America, if he can possibly do that. And that race, of course, comes up on Sunday. This is the final race in terms of the Ferrari Challenge North America Season 4 2023. And Matt Kojeski is maxed out. He's done everything that he needed to do. He is the champion. And Matt Kojeski, an absolutely awesome driver who I first met in the Winter Series when we were racing in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and Matt Kojeski then has proven just how good he is by taking that championship for North America in Trofeo Pirelli. Great job done by Matt. Now, Matt, of course, having taken that Trophy Pirelli championship, when it comes to Trofeo Pirelli Am, just to clear something up here, in my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm never wrong, because I'm wrong lots and lots of times, Brian Cook, of course, was victorious yesterday, but insofar as the Trofeo Pirelli Am Championship is concerned, I'm pretty sure it's Justin Rothberg. For Coperchel, it's definitely Cameron Root, and for Coperchel Am, it is, of course, Lisa Clark. Now, very unusually for our North American racers, we put all 4 categories together in the same race. What a race we've got lined up for you, therefore. We have Pirelli drivers, Pirelli Am drivers, Shell drivers, and Shell Am drivers. So Lisa Clark, then, absolutely fantastic, has had a stellar season as we look at David Veronin, but Lisa Clark right now, I understand Ludovica's got her.
Yes, Guy, I'm here with Lisa Clark for discovering more about her sensation for today. What do you expect from this race, Lisa?
Well, I've got the pressure off from the championship, so I've got that behind me. So today I'm really just going to have fun and push myself and hopefully get podium. That's always the plan.
And what is your confidence and your feeling with this circuit?
With what?
What is your confidence or feelings about and on this circuit?
No, Mugello's amazing. I was here a couple weeks ago and did the Italian GT. It's an epic place to have the World Finals, so I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Have a good race, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Back to you.
Thank you so much. Lisa Clark, then, as I said, has had a stellar season. She's raced, of course, in North America, but has also done some racing here in Europe as well. Look at that. Some sunshine coming through the clouds. Right, race 2 for Trofeo Pirelli Coperchel is not that far away from starting. We have got a slight delay to the start, as you can see. You couldn't really miss it. Cars are all on the grid. They are ready to go, but there's still lots and lots of engineers and people out there on the grid as well, as we take a look into the cockpits of some of these 488 Challenge Evo cars. And yeah, just get up close and personal with some of the protagonists before we get the race underway. It's a great opportunity to go down and through the grid and take a look at some of these fine cars and drivers, including Cyril Choksi to the right-hand side of your screen there. We've just passed Cyril Choksi's car. Up next, we will see Tony Davis and Michael Mathis, and they will be gunning for it as best they can. But it is a big, big grid of cars, and there you can see all smiles all round. And there is the pole-sitting driver, Matt Kojewski, who put it on pole by dint of second fastest lap. The qualifying for Ferrari Challenge North America for this weekend, as we've taken from the qualifying session the fastest lap and also the second fastest lap to set the grids for the 2 races. Taking a look at the 373 car there, as you can see, and taking a look at the front splitter of these gorgeous 488 Challenge Evo cars, and that was the Cyril Choksi car, as I say, engineered by Ferrari of Denver. So, still lots of people, including Lulu Voodoo, who is there, official Ferrari GT driver. Hi, how you doing? And lots and lots of people down there on the grid, enjoying their time on the grid just ahead of the start of the race. It's wonderful to have so many guests here in Mugello. And right now, let's check back into the pit lane with Ludovica.
The last voice for today, we are here with Roberto Perina. Roberto, yesterday was a very hard and tough race. What do you expect from today?
I expect the same type of a hard race as we had yesterday. Hopefully with the positions at the end reversed. Maybe me in front this time and Matt behind me. But we had a great race yesterday. It was fantastic battle. You can see that we have 2 different styles of driving, so it's going to be fun.
Thank you so much. Have a good race.
Well, Roberto Perina certainly was awesome to watch yesterday, as he was really, really pushing Matt Kojewski and having to do everything he could to really hold Matt Kojewski, putting his elbows out, to make sure that Robert Perina didn't come away. Just confirmation that I was right, and I hate being right, but I am sometimes. As we look at Cameron Root, who is our Coperchel champion, I was correct in that the Trofeo Pirelli Am Championship has gone the way of Justin Rothberg for Ferrari of Palm Beach, and not Brian Cook, as was alluded by Ludovica earlier. So Brian Cook, though, did have a fantastic race yesterday. The Ferrari of Seattle driver, the Cookie Monster, as he is known. He, of course, was on the top step of the podium yesterday, having taken the win within class. So I'm sure that's where the confusion came from. There's Custodio Toledo. Now, I saw Custodio not 10 minutes before making my way to the grid, and he said, Dave, I'm going to give it absolutely everything today because I'm starting further down the order perhaps than I would like to, so I'm going to give it everything, and Custodio always does. I mean, he's being a bit unfair to himself, really, because he's qualified P4 within class, but it is a long way back from the next Trofeo Pirelli driver, and that by dint of how the qualifying has worked, he's actually 15th on the grid, so he's got quite some overtaking to do. In fact, 4 Pirelli, 5 Pirelli AM drivers and 3 Shell drivers to get on terms with Dylan Medler, who has qualified P3 in Trofeo Pirelli. So all our North American drivers then on the grid. The start has been delayed just a little bit, but I promise you we will be going to racing very, very soon. And there you can see the back end of the McCade Wang car, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I've not got that wrong. No, indeed, the Ferrari of Vancouver driver, McCade Wang. And McCade, who's had some success this season, and has really developed as a driver. And his best finishes are sort of a brace of P7s, if memory serves me, from Montreal, and a couple in Sonoma as well. The 233 car, well, as you probably know, that's driven by Omar Balkasoon, one of the most exciting liveries on a 488 Challenge Evo that you can see. And Omar is a great guy. And of course, Omar Balkasoon had a fantastic time of it yesterday by taking P2. Now, taking the Copa Shell Championship was Cameron Root, who I understand is about to be approached by Ludovica.
We are here from the third position with Cameron Root for discover about his sensation, and I want to ask you, what type of strategy did you decide with your team for today?
I'm going to go out there and have fun. I already got the championship locked up, and I'm going to use this to test my skills against a better driver. So I'm going to try to get a good positioning right out of the gate and be aggressive.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cameron Root, he is going to give it everything he can. Of course he is. All the pressure is off right now because, of course, he's sealed the championship, and now he's going to try and mix it with the Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers as well. Cameron Root and he and David Veronin have had such a wonderful tussle all season long to take the Copa Shell honours, and Cameron Root was able to seal the deal yesterday. And he was utterly thrilled, as you would expect him to be. And I've spoken to both Cameron and also to David Veronin as well. And the fight has been fraught all season long, but it's been utterly fair between them as well. Really very healthy competitive respect between those drivers. And that's also the case throughout the grid when it comes to our Ferrari Challenge North American drivers who are racing on Italian soil for this Finale Mondiale event. Ordinarily, I would say, a Finale Mondiale weekend. But it all started midweek as we all got together. Now, there you can see Louis Colmash, and to his right-hand side is Matt Dusenberry. They're both management responsible for the Ferrari Challenge North America series, and both those guys do a very good job as well. Helicopter takes off then, and that being the case, I'm sure that all non-essential staff have already left the grid, and then the remaining engineers will be on their way off the grid as well, and we can get the race started underway. Just 1 minute, 60 seconds away from the start procedure. The cars will be led away by the Richard Meals safety car, and as always the case, a rolling start. And there you see the Bad Batch. I love that on the back of the Omar Balkasoon car. Loving it, loving it. Omar Balkasoon driving for Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale. Bested with a P2 in the second race at Road America, and repeated that here in Italy yesterday. So Omar Balkasoon will be in a rich vein of confidence, I would suggest. And bear in mind for these drivers that these are the best track conditions that they have had since they've been here in Mugello. So it's going to be a good opportunity for them to really stretch their legs. Right on cue, the Richard Mille safety car leads their cars away. Here comes the grid in full. Makojewski, Roberto Perina, P1 and P2. They gave us a heck of a race yesterday. It'll be the same today, I'm sure. Best of the AM drivers, Brian Cook and Michael Porter, go from P3 and P4. That's the second row of the grid. To the third row, where we find Cameron Root, our Copa champion. Dylan Medler, the Trofeo Pirelli driver, is alongside him. Justin Rothberg, who's our Trofeo Pirelli AM champion, goes from P7. David Veronin, Copa goes from P8. Then we see Omar Balkasoon and McCade Wang going from P9 and P10, completing row 5 of our North American grid with Michael Mathis and Tony Davis, P11 and P12. Tony could be a danger man from there. Cyril Choksi and Tor Haugen are P13 and P14. That's the 7th row of our packed grid with Castadio Toledo and Frank Szczesniak, who didn't have an awful lot of luck yesterday. They go from P15 and 16. Bruce Cleveland and Jan Bernier are P17 and P18. To the 10th row right now, Lisa Clark, our Copa AM champion. She has Steve Check for company on the 10th row. It's P19 and 20. Lance Corley, P21. What a race he had yesterday. Jeff Nunberg goes from P22. Then it's Mark Musso and John Visca, P23 and P24. Trofeo Pirelli AM and Copa drivers, with Matt Dalton and Roger Monteforte on P25 and 26. There's still more to come. The value we give you. Brian Kaminsky and Dana Goodwin are P27 and 28. One more car to bring you. It's Al Hegyi, the Copa AM driver, who goes from P29 for Ferrari of Newport Beach. So, a 29-strong grid of Ferrari 488 Challenge Evos from Ferrari Challenge North America on Italian soil at this Finale Mondiali event. The cars then will line up side by side in grid formation, initially behind the Richard Mille safety car. The Richard Mille safety car will, of course, peel off into the pit lane, and then it becomes the responsibility of Makojewski and Roberto Perina to control the pace of the rolling start for the 30-minute race to come. Anticipation building, not only in the cockpit, but here in our commentary studio, and also in the pit lane and the garages as well, because behind every driver there is a big team and a big family who are rooting for each and every one of those drivers. So the excitement is felt by all. On board with Makojewski, looking back then at the car of Brian Cook to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side, of course, it is Roberto Perina. On board with David Veronin now. Looking at the back end of the 209 car of Justin Rothberg, the Ferrari of Palm Beach driver. So the chicane to do. The drivers will line up side by side. And that's what the marshal to the left-hand side of the screen was holding up there, advising the drivers to get into full grid formation. And into the final turn here at the Mugello circuit. And it's critical how you develop and use this turn, because it can give you such a good run up the start-finish straight, because you climb up 2 small hills on the start-finish straight. You'll see it when our camera pans around, and there you can see just some of the anxiety, although looking pretty cool there, some of the anxiety that I was talking about in the pit lane. Let's throw in a music bed and allow that to build the anticipation for race 2, Ferrari Challenge North America. Here we go. As the lighting gantry loses its red lights, it's a good start from Makojewski. Trying to get something of a drag is Roberto Perina, but he tucks in right behind Makojewski now. Cameron Root also trying to make moves early on in this. Look at this, he tries to get to the inside of Brian Cook. He's going to be hard on the brakes into turn number 1. What a great move from Cameron Root, who's gone through to pick up P3 in the race, and that was from P5 on the grid. As was the case yesterday, Roberto Perina is taking it to Makojewski early on and really pushing him now as they make their way through turns 2 and 3 into another chicane right now, and also diving to the inside of Brian Cook. I think that was Michael Porter who was having a go there. And the rest of the cars come through as we settle down through the first few turns, and of course the drivers trying to drive up temperature into those tyres to give them the grip as they run downhill now through this undulating 5.245 circuit that is the Mugello circuit. So just running off the track there, but getting back on. I think that was Dylan Medler. Here comes Cameron Root. Here, though, is our race leader. It is Matt Kojeski ahead of Roberto Perina. Then it is Cameron Root, who's leading for the Shell drivers, ahead of Brian Cook, who's the best of the Pirelli AM drivers right now. Justin Rotberg is under some pressure. But Justin Rotberg has got the 233 car of Omar Balkassoon, really giving him some strife there. So we'll see how Justin Rotberg is able to deal with that. So well done to Justin Rotberg, running in P8 in the race overall so far. The battle for P3 between Justin Rotberg and Omar Balkassoon. And there you can see David Veronin, the man that really took the shell charge to Cameron Root throughout the course of the season, and finally ended up not taking it yesterday because Cameron Root did the job. And there you can see as they come around the final turn there. Wow, that was a move as Cameron Root in that P3 position is under threat now from Brian Cook, who's got the inside, and surely this will be enough for the Cookie Monster to go through and pick up that P3 place in the race overall. It's not an interclass battle, but nonetheless it is the battle for the pride of honours on the track. And sure enough, look at the brake discs really light up on the Brian Cook car as he tries to scrub off the speed into turn number 1. Delighted to welcome alongside me former Ferrari Challenge champion, now top hypercar star, Niklas Nielsen. Wow, final race in the 2023 championship for Ferrari Challenge North America. The gloves are off because all the championships have been won. No pressure on anyone, Niklas.
No, definitely. I mean, it's always great coming back here, especially to Mugello. It's actually where I did my first entrance in the Ferrari Challenge. And yeah, great to be back here. Great to see some good racing, and it seems like everyone came up for a pretty good start.
And to be fair, the best track conditions that any driver has had all blooming weekend long. Not that it is the weekend, of course, it's only Friday. We've had so much rain that these drivers have had to contend with. So Niklas Nielsen then, yes, I remember him making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge as this young, freckle-faced young man. And look at him now, a fully fledged hypercar driver, just proving what the Ferrari Challenge can do for your racing career. Justin Rotberg continuing to defend from Omar Balkassoon. He's going to try and dive to the inside of David Veronin. He wasn't able to make that work on this occasion. Now, of course, David Veronin is not in this battle, really, because David Veronin is a Shell driver, but the Trofeo Pirelli AM driver that is Justin Rotberg, and champion at that, if you will, who's got Omar Balkassoon on his gearbox. He wants to try and get past David Veronin and give himself a little bit of a shell cushion between himself and Omar Balkassoon. Completely different lines they're taking around that final turn as they head onto the start-finish straight. Now is Justin Rotberg going to be able to get something of a draft off the David Veronin car as they headed towards turn number 1. Here comes hill climb 2. Justin Rotberg to the outside now, dives to the inside, king of the late breakers. Justin Rotberg potentially so. Racing room very sensibly left by David Veronin. And Justin Rotberg does go through. Niklas Nielsen, for me, that was a textbook of how to make that start-finish straight work for you.
Yeah, he kind of made it look like he wasn't going to go for the move, and then by the end he went for it. So a great move and good respect between the two of them.
However, Omar Balkassoon just looked like he was going to come back. Now, whether he did or not, we will see. Well, he tried, but didn't succeed. Here's Cameron Root then, and Cameron Root for company has got Dylan Medler, the collection driver. So Cameron Root said he was going to mix it up with those Pirelli drivers, and that's precisely what he is doing. Cameron Root sealed the Cup Shell Championship yesterday, and, well, having sealed the championship some time ago, a few races ago, was Matt Kojeski. For Trofeo Pirelli. He did that when we were in Road America. And Matt Kojeski then coming here. All his focus is on perhaps the world final race on Sunday, although Matt Kojeski is a racing driver. If you're in a racing car and you're in a race, then your focus is P1, irrespective of what your plans may be for Sunday. A couple of drivers just being warned about track limits. Just keep your eye on that, because track limits ruled by a rod of iron by our race directors team. And Matt Kojeski now has built up a margin of some 1.748 seconds over Roberto Perina, which he didn't do yesterday. Perina was with him all the way, pretty much for the entire race. So Matt obviously feeling very, very comfortable in these conditions. And the conditions yesterday were altogether different to those that we're racing in today. Let's take a look at a replay of the race start then. So as the lights went out and we went to racing, it was a very good start from Matt Kojeski. You could see that immediately Roberto Perina was going to dive to the inside. Now, Cameron Root was looking very lively. So too was David Veronin as they headed in towards turn number 1, just over the apex of the second climb on this start-finish straight. We ride on board with David Veronin to see what it's like from a driver's eye perspective. Down near. There's the Cameron Root car to the very right-hand side of the image that you can see right now. And if memory serves me, David Veronin trying to go all the way around the outside of turn number 1. I got it right. The outside of turn number 1 does, of course, give you the inside for turn number 2, but you've got to have momentum going around there. And, of course, at this point, Niklas Nielsen, all the drivers right at the start of the race are on cold tyres, so perhaps the grip isn't optimized?
Yeah, the grip is not optimized. The grip is not optimized, and like you said, I think the guy in P1 is definitely expecting that someone is going to try to go for the move, so he's going to cover it off.
Steve Check has gone around in replay, but he got it managed to get it pointing in the right direction again. And that's Tony Davis that you could see there just for a moment. Let me give you an update on the order as they stand at the moment, although you can see it in graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Matt Kojeski leading Roberto Perina for the Trofeo Pirelli drivers. They have the red strip across the top of the windscreen. For Trofeo Pirelli Am, it's Brian Cook leading Michael Porter. They have the white strip across the top of the windscreen. For Shell drivers, it's Cameron Root, I beg your pardon, and David Veronin, P1 and P2. And for the Am drivers, it's Bruce Cleveland ahead of Jeffrey Nunberg. And this is Tony Davis and Michael Mathis. We're in a battle for P5. And Tony Davis, you can see Tor Haugen there. Tor Haugen looking lively as well. I think that's Frank Szczesniak that he's fighting with right now. Frank Szczesniak in the 322 car. Tor Haugen is driving the 325 car. So let's see as they come across the start-finish straight. Tor Haugen, I think, will try and get something of a draft off the orange and blue car, which you can see centre shot right now of Frank Szczesniak as they head towards the turn number 1. Tor Haugen, is he going to go for the outside? He's taking a look at the outside. Late braking from Frank Szczesniak to try and protect that inside line. Tor Haugen still trying to go around the outside now. He'll try and switch to the inside, but that would be the outside for the next turn. So, for the moment, Frank Szczesniak is able to see off the challenge for the Cobra Shell P3 place that he currently occupies. Tor Haugen desperately trying to get onto the podium. Meantime, big fight going on between Michael Mathis and Tony Davis just ahead of him. There is the Tony Davis car. And Michael Mathis then right behind. They, of course, are Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. We should make mention of the fact that Tony Davis moving up 2 groups at the start of 2023 and has acquitted himself really well during the course of this 2023 season. The Mark Muzo car is right behind Tor Haugen at the moment, and McCade Wang is not far behind Mark Muzo either. They are running P15 and P16 overall, but that's P7 and P8 in class. We stay with this battle between Tony Davis and Michael Mathis. Tony Davis is able to stick his elbows out and just keep ahead of Michael Mathis, the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver at the moment. So there you can see Tony Davis in the 204 car now. Tony Davis has taken a couple of wins this season. One of those came at Road Atlanta. Another one came at Montreal in Canada, where, funnily enough, we had torrid conditions when we were supporting the Formula One Grand Prix in Montreal with the Ferrari Challenge North America. Justin Rothberg and Michael Porter then, side by side, going into towards the turn. As they head towards turn number 1 now. Got to be made of fairly stern and brave stuff here as Justin Rothberg takes a look at the outside. Of course, he needs the grip to maintain that momentum, and he's not able to do that. And Michael Porter is able to just stick his elbows out and deny Justin Rothberg once again from going through. So Michael Porter remains in that P2 place, Justin Rothberg P3. Those are the final podium places, of course, for our Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. Now, already we are seeing penalties being awarded for track limits infringements. Car number 288, that's Custodio Toledo. Now, Custodio Toledo, who is running P4 in Trofeo Pirelli, gets a time penalty of 5 seconds. He's not the only one, because another driver that's going to be getting a time penalty as well is the 222 car of Michael Porter. Now, of course, with Michael Porter getting a 5-second time penalty, Justin Rothberg right behind him, that would elevate Justin Rothberg immediately. So what Michael Porter needs to try and do now is build a gap of 5 seconds between himself and Justin Rothberg. Ooh, getting very sideways there. We like to see that. It's not the quickest way around. And I have to say, the time penalties, our screen is littered with them now, so a lot of them are coming through. I'm not sure I can keep you completely and totally up to date with all of those. But Al Hegyi is another driver that is getting a time penalty, and what a great shot that is. Well done to our crew and the drone, and well, that was bold and ambitious, but he really stuck to it, Niklas Nielsen. It's reminiscent of the driving you used to do in the early days, you know.
Yeah, that was a great move. I mean, it's not really a place where we see a lot of overtakings, but he really built up the momentum from the previous corner before the chicane. So it was, yeah, like we see a bit of robbing as well. It was a great move.
Robbins racing, though, yeah. Niklas, isn't it?
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. He didn't back out, and he made it.
Brilliant stuff. A time penalty of 5 seconds is being awarded to David Veronin as well. I remind you that Niklas Nielsen, now, of course, official Ferrari hypercar driver and top geezer as well, who I've known for, well, it feels like a lot of years now from his junior racing, and came up through the ranks, and his talent has been right royally recognized, and rightfully so. So it is Matt Kojewski leading Roberto Perina, and that has been the case. Just think that Roberto Perina is getting a bit closer to Matt Kojewski now. The gap between P1 and P2 is now down to just 8/10. So Roberto Perina, he really took the race to Matt Kojewski yesterday, and he was virtually welded to the back end of Matt Kojewski's car. As we begin to look towards the second half of this race, I mean, the pace that these two drivers have got, they're escaping up the road because they are a full 10 seconds clear of Brian Cook, who is the next best driver and actually leader in terms of Pirelli Am. Meantime, what's going on here? Well, I'll tell you what's going on here. Frank Szczesniak is having to do some defending from Mark Musso as he goes around all the way around the outside of Frank Szczesniak. That's a good move from Mark Musso, and he made it work. Now, Thor Haugen is the next one lining up behind the Frank Szczesniak car. And I just wonder whether things are changing, whether track conditions are changing out there. Niklas Nielsen, we can see one or two cars with wipers on. I just wonder if we're beginning to see a little bit of drizzle here.
Yeah, it seems also on the camera lens like there is a bit of drizzle, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, we see one or two cars with. It is definitely raining a bit. We can see it now on the camera as well.
Oh, so all of a sudden these drivers are out there on slick weather tires. This is going to be like driving on ice, isn't it, Niklas?
Yeah, for the moment I think it's pretty okay. But if it starts to rain a bit more than this, we will see some skating around on the circuit. That's for sure.
Right, hold on to your hats, everybody, because just when you thought this race couldn't get much more exciting, spanner is thrown in the works from the weather. And there you can see Mark Musso just diving around the inside here. So the drivers are all out there on slick weather tires. Now, what we found earlier on when a little drizzle shower came out, and the light rain is at turn 5, when the rain came down, it was very, very short-lived, but it was raining in one part of the circuit, but not on another part of the circuit. The Mugello circuit is very, very undulating, but well, drivers are going to have to tiptoe around here because you can see that, for example, one of those drivers that's been really caught out by the rain shower is Tony Davis. Right, the Thor Haugen car is right in the mix of it here. There is Tony Davis, and Tony Davis now, I think he's got McCade Wang for company. And yeah, sure enough, it is the McCade Wang car. There's Thor Haugen. He's got the blue strips on his 488 Challenge Evo. Mark Musso, who clearly found the conditions to his liking at that moment. And the sun begins to beat down once again through the clouds, so who knows whether it is a very, very short-lived shower, but those drivers that were able to take advantage of it at the time that they did certainly did so. And there you can see the 288 car on the inside line there, Custodio Toledo. Bear in mind, Custodio's already got a time penalty, and actually that has now been converted to a drive-through penalty for track limits. So the 288 car of Custodio Toledo He's got a drive-through penalty to take. He's got to take it within 3 laps of that penalty being awarded. And you can see that part of the circuit, the rain is coming down more. And Roberto Perina, all of a sudden, it's a carbon copy of where we were at yesterday. In very similar weather conditions, it has to be said. And now Roberto Perina is trying to take it to Matt Kojewski. Now, Matt has already said his focus now, having won the Trofeo Pirelli Championship, his focus is on the World Final race, which is coming on Sunday. My goodness me, he had to sandwich that car through there. And Roberto Perina has put himself into the lead of the race. So Roberto Perina now leads from Matt Kojewski. And, oh, you can see that car beginning to skate. The back end of that car. Now, that was a back-marking car that both drivers were trying to get past. And, well, I have to say, it was a really bold and ambitious... we've got a safety car. It was a bold and ambitious move there from Roberto Perina. But Niklas Nielsen, once he'd made his commitment to that move, he stuck with it, didn't he?
Yeah, he definitely did.
It looked like that was the Tony Davis car off into the gravel. I only caught a very quick glimpse of it. But I think it was Tony Davis who is in the gravel, and that has brought the safety car out with 13.5 minutes remaining in this race, the final race. Car number 288 gets a drive-through penalty for track limits, as I mentioned that earlier on, and that is the Custodio Toledo car. You can see what it's like from our onboard camera here of how that rain has started to fall. So this was how Roberto Perina, rubbing his racing, like it. Of course, Matt Kojewski doing everything he could to defend, but certainly giving racing room to Roberto Perina, who was able to go through. That was the backmarking car.
I think it was lucky that nothing really happened there.
Wow. Well, they did get through, and there is Matt's partner looking on. And I was having a conversation with her actually just before we made our way into the commentary studio. So, safety car is out, and Roberto Perina is leading the race from Matt Kojewski. Those are the Pirelli P1 and P2 for the AM drivers. It's Brian Cook ahead of Justin Rothberg, our Pirelli AM champion. For the Shell drivers, it's Cameron Root ahead of David Veronin. And for the Shell AM drivers, it's Bruce Cleveland ahead of Jeffrey Nunberg. They are the P1 and P2. And in comes the 378 car of Al Heggie. So that, to me, looks like that's a race retirement. And the rain is now beginning to fall out of the sky. And actually, it's so good that they're behind the safety car, because of course that reduces the speed. But this track dries out very quick, but it also, Niklas, it gets wet very quick as well.
Yeah, and especially now where we have one part of the track that's really wet and another one where it's dry is very tricky out there.
So I think that was McCade Wang who was on the outside of Tony Davis. It was indeed McCade Wang, and Tony, in trying to defend his position, perhaps he ends up in the gravel, and you can see how really disappointed he is, and that is such a shame, because Tony has had a stellar season. What a shame, and very, very sorry to see that. So wet weather tyres going on to, well, certainly the car of, that's Michael Mathis. They've decided with 11 minutes remaining, they're going to take the slicks off and put wet weather tyres on. And if you're going to come in and you're going to change your tyres, good time to do that is when the safety car is out.
If they manage to get out before the safety car passes, so you don't have the red light at the end of the pit lane, it might work for him actually, because now it's really raining out there.
Yeah. So the team go to work very, very quickly. Franz Freeman there, you can see there is one of the engineers. And are they going to let the air jacks down and get Michael Mathis back out? And that's where the safety car is right now, as Niklas says. If they can get out before the safety car is passed, then he'll be able to join at the back of the crocodile. He'll have the advantage, of course, of being on the right rubber for the remainder of the race, however long that should be. I don't imagine we're going to be a long time recovering the Tony Davis car. The recovery crew here at Mugello have worked really, really hard this weekend in very, very challenging conditions, but they have recovered cars very, very quickly, and they've got us back to racing equally quickly. So just under 10 minutes remaining. Roberto Perina and Matt Kajewski, P1 and P2 for Pirelli. For Pirelli AM, it is Brian Cook ahead of Justin Rothberg. For Shell drivers, it's Cameron Root and David Veronin. And for the Shell AM drivers, it is Bruce Cleveland ahead of Jeffrey Nunberg. So whilst we're behind the safety car and we have a moment or two as another car comes in, and we have a moment or two, let's talk about Niklas Nielsen, top racing driver. Niklas, when you were here in the Ferrari Challenge a few years ago now, you know, in your wildest dreams, did you imagine that you would be driving the hypercar at Le Mans? I mean, you know, what an elevation your career has had, and richly so. I mean, I saw your talent quite a few years ago in junior single-seaters, and I really thought that there's a guy that deserves a brilliant drive, and you've got it.
Thank you very much, Dave. No, it's definitely a dream coming true, you know. And to be honest, no, I couldn't imagine being in the hypercar when I was driving in Challenge 5 years ago. But nevertheless, it's something that I'm really proud of, and something, you know, like when I look back, I'm really happy I decided to go into a Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, and you know, you are a classic and a really good example to some of the young stars that take a look at the Ferrari Challenge. I mean, it is, you know, it's a very, very good series to be in, isn't it, from a career elevation potential point of view. And Niklas has proved that, undoubtedly. 8.5 minutes remaining, or just under 8.5 minutes remaining. Alessandro Balzan is driver coach to Matt Kajewski. He's with Ludovica.
Yes, thank you guys. We are here in pit during this safety car, and I'm here with Alessandro for discover more about the race of Matt.
Yes, it's giving us good feedback from the car. For sure, there is half part of the track that is really heavy rain, but the rest of the track is pretty dry. So, you know, right now it's a kind of a gambling. We are in a good spot. You already won the championship, race one yesterday, so it's just a minimum risk. All our eyes are for the world final, you know, on the next day. But this is a good experience for the world final, so we want to do as best as we can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alessandro Balzan, who ain't a bad driver himself, it has to be said. And he, too, has raced in the Ferrari Challenge to some success, Ale Balzan. So there we are. You can see a number of the drivers now coming in to put those wet weather tyres on. Niklas Nielsen is furiously writing with pen and paper to identify which cars have got wet weather tyres and which ones have got slicks on. Oh, no, he's not. You're helping me there, friend. Just while the safety car is coming in this lap, we're being advised. So safety car coming in this lap. A number of cars have come in and put wet weather tyres on. I think we will see and be able to identify which cars have got the wets on, because they'll be out of position, but they'll be at the back of the crocodile, Niklas, but they'll be quicker than the cars in front of them.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see how wet the track actually is, because, I mean, from the TV is obviously very difficult to see, but we still have 7 minutes to go. So yeah. I still suspect that one track is more wet than the other, so it might be a 50-50 at the beginning.
If you'd have been in that position, would you have taken the gamble? I suppose it depends where you were.
It depends where I was, but
yeah.
If I was in the back, I would have definitely gone for it.
Okay.
But if I was in the front, I would have followed whatever the other guys were doing. Okay. You know? So it's always a difficult situation to be in.
It is a difficult situation, and sorry for putting you in that position, but looking forward to the decision-making of Niklas there, and as he says, he'd follow what the others do. Well, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't seen any of the front-running drivers go in, have we? So they're going to try and tiptoe their way around, because also what should be borne in mind here is that during the safety car phase, your car is much slower. Therefore, you're losing temperature in those tyres. You've got to rebuild that up again. So there are going to be some very, very vulnerable people out there.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I still think the slick tyre is the best tyre at the moment. But we will see. I might be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, but I hope you invite me back anyway.
That's a given. Right, let's go back to it then, because the safety car has peeled off into the pit lane. The Richard Mills safety car indicated right. Let's go back to racing. 5.5 minutes remaining. That's 3, maybe 4 racing laps, depending on when they cross the line. And Makoyevsky wants to be P1 once again, whatever he may have said about his focus on the World Finals. Or he took a look at the inside of Roberto Perina, who might be carrying a bit too much speed through turn number 1. Makoyevsky now diving to the inside, but that, of course, is the outside for turn number 2. Therefore, he does have the advantage. So Makoyevsky has taken it to Roberto Perina in much the same way that Roberto Perina took it to Makoyevsky yesterday. Who is going to win this Trofeo Pirelli fight for P1? Well, at the moment, Makoyevsky and Roberto Perina are absolutely side by side. And once you get onto the painted lines, they're even more slippery. You can see there that Roberto Perina got a bit sideways. That nearly played into the hands of Makoyevsky, but not quite. So we can see us all sliding around right now, using opposite lock like you're a rallycross star. And once you're on the painted lines, oh, that is so difficult to control. And there you can see the Cookie Monster, Brian Cook, has gone through to split the two Pirelli drivers. So Makoyevsky now dropping back to P3 in the race overall. And Justin Rothberg is seemingly loving these conditions. So the order is, in the race overall, it's Roberto Perina from Brian Cook, then it is Makoyevsky, then it is Cameron Root. However, of course, they are a mix of categories there, because Brian Cook is a Trofeo Pirelli AM driver. But nonetheless, he's winning his category at the moment, and he is chasing on. And we are aware of a number of cars that are getting drive-through penalties for track limits. There they are on your screen right now. And frankly, with 3.5 minutes remaining, it's pretty likely that they might get post-race time penalties rather than drive-through, because ordinarily you've got 3 laps to take a drive-through penalty. I don't think we've got 3 laps left in the race, maybe just. So here comes our race leader, Roberto Perina, heading towards the timing lane right now. And there you can see just how difficult it is to try and control these cars in very difficult conditions. I mean, Makoyevsky almost had a whale tail then, didn't he? He was going from one side to the next and controlled it really well. Talented driving.
Yeah, but these conditions are sometimes nice to be in as well, because it's really where you can make the difference, you know. And obviously, being in the front is always the most difficult position, because being second, you have a car in front and you can see wherever he's going, and you can actually see before you get there if it's the right place to be or not.
Can I be really rude here? Being from the part of the world that you're from, you're used to sideways driving.
I love the rain. It always rained when I went to the karting tracks when I was younger.
Oh, that was a bit personal, but absolutely accurate nonetheless. So it is Roberto Perina, Brian Cook, Makoyevsky, Cameron Root, then it's Justin Rothberg and Dylan Medler. That's the way it looks with 2.5 minutes of this remaining. Justin Rothberg has put himself ahead of Cameron Root right now. And you can see that the drivers really are tiptoeing. Oh, no, as one has gone around. Is that McCade Wang? I think it might be, who has made contact with the barriers. Now, is he able to get the car pointing in the right direction again? I hope I called that correctly in being McCade Wang. I'm pretty sure I did. The livery looked very familiar to me, that sort of metallic blue color. And sure enough, McCade Wang is dropping down the order. So I did manage to find the right driver there. There is Brian Cook then, the Ferrari of Seattle driver, who's running in P2 in the race overall, but is winning the Trofeo Pirelli AM race. So Pirelli 1, 2, 3, it's Roberto Perina, Makoyevsky, and then it is Dylan Medler. For the AM drivers, it's Brian Cook, ahead of Justin Rothberg and Mark Musso. For Shell, it's Cameron Root, David Veronin, and then it's John Viska. And for the Shell AM drivers, it's Jeffrey Nunberg, Lisa Clark, and Steve Check. We've got 1.25 minutes left as we look at the 341 car of Jeff Nunberg then, the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver who is leading in Shell AM. So brilliant driving from Jeffrey Nunberg, who was absolutely able to cope with these conditions. And now, as you can see, the track is beginning to dry out once again very quickly. And we start the final lap. Brian Cook and Makoyevsky are side by side here going into turn number 1. Brian Cook later on the brakes than Makoyevsky. You can see the brake discs, or if we're in North America, brake rotors really light up there as they go side by side. Now, it's not a class battle here because they're in different categories, but of course you've got the pride of wanting to be as far up the order as you can be, and Makoyevsky is a racing driver. He always wants to be. The car ahead of him is always a target, and that's precisely how he sees Brian Cook at the moment. So Roberto Perina Matt Kojewski, the top two Pirelli drivers, and Roberto Perena. I have to say he hasn't or wasn't as close to Matt Kojewski for much of the race today as he was yesterday, but he's made it count when it needed to be counted, and is P1 right now. Healthy respect between the two of them. Brian Cook right now having to stick his elbows out from Matt Kojewski, who's just, no! That was really, really unfortunate, and that has sent Brian Cook into the gravel. I looked at that, Niklas, and I thought there's no way he's going to be able to not make contact there.
Yeah, it got a bit hefty, and I'm pretty sure that Brian is not going to be very happy about that one.
Well, that's such a shame. I mean, you know, Matt is one of those drivers that absolutely, he doesn't have an ounce of maliciousness, if there is such a word, in him. It's just one of those incidents that happened. Let's see it in replay here from perhaps a different camera angle. I mean, they were fighting really, really hard together, and it was just as Mac pulls in here. There's just the lightest of touch, but in these conditions, exactly. Niklas, it's enough, isn't it?
Exactly.
What a shame. And we're on the final lap. Yellow flag at turn number 8. So it is going to be Roberto Perena and Matt Kojewski ahead of Dylan Medler. And here we can see them head towards the timing line and the checkered flag that will be unfurled for Roberto Perena, then taking the win here in Mugello. And well done to Roberto Perena. He tried so hard to take a win yesterday, and when you consider he started the season as a race winner when we were in Homestead, Miami, this is only his second win since the very start of the 2023 season. So he's kind of bookended everything that he's done with 2 wins, which ain't a bad place to be, is it? Roberto Perena from Matt Kojewski, Justin Rothberg from Mark Musso for the Pirelli AM drivers. For the Shell drivers, Cameron Root and John Viscup. And then for the Shell AM drivers, it's Jeff Nunberg ahead of Lisa Clark. So Roberto Perena then, Ferrari of Seattle, is pretty happy about his performance. Of course, we'll bring you confirmation of results in due course. There is Justin Rothberg, and there is Cameron Root, and there's David Veronin, who are just looking at this here because that looked like the David Veronin car, but he's finished further down the order than I anticipated, and I don't know whether there was a reason for that. Perhaps there's been a time penalty brought about because he was given a track limits warning. Yes, indeed, that was the case. He'd got a drive-through penalty, so that makes all perfect sense now. We'll bring you the full classification in just a moment. So there we have it then, the final race for 2023 in our Ferrari Challenge North America. Season is done and dusted. Niklas Nielsen, I know you've got various media duties to go and attend to now because you are a superstar. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us here. And we look forward to seeing and hearing more from you across the course of this finale Mondiale weekend.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Cheers, Niklas. Niklas Nielsen then, top driver, and actually really nice guy as well, who's spent time with us here in comms, and we really appreciate that, giving us his racing driver insight. So cars coming down to the pit lane then and into the pit lane. And we have 4 podiums to bring you, of course, because we have Pirelli podium, Pirelli AM podium, Shell podium, and Shell AM podium as well. So jumping out of the car there is Matt Kojewski. And here comes Roberto Perena, who's going to park up. And Roberto Perena did so well yesterday in really taking it to Matt Kojewski, but he couldn't find a way by. Today he has done that. One of the first drivers to go, and congratulate Roberto Perena. I suspect will be Matt Kojewski because they had such a ding-dong battle yesterday. Look at that, the healthy camaraderie and respect between these drivers. Roberto's pretty happy there. First of all, his engineer and coach congratulates him, and then look at that, Matt Kojewski congratulates him as well. Something to be said for that, I must say, and well done. And Justin Rothberg, you can see his car, but Roberto Perena very happy indeed. There will be some drivers that will not be as happy, of course, but we understand that, and sometimes racing can be ever so beautiful, but it can be really brutal as well. Daniel Mancinelli there, who is another top driver coach, and there is Kojewski with the crash helmet and the HANDS device off. And you often hear us talk about HANDS device. If you wonder what HANDS stands for, it's head and neck support. There, the Ferrari of Miami driver you can see, and there is Cameron Root, and Ludovica is right there in the mix of it.
Yes, we are here with Justin Rothberg. Justin, congratulations for today. You end this season in the best way.
What was the question?
You ended the season in the best way. So.
Oh, amazing way to end the season. Championship yesterday, win today. Hopefully in the World finale, you get another win. Make it a great season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Justin Rothberg. Dare I say it, I was cajoled into calling him Rottweiler Rothberg by another couple of Ferrari Challenge competitors who will remain nameless. Now, we can see that car number 221. Now, the car number 221 is Matt Kojewski, who has been given a 25-second time penalty for causing a collision. Now, that means that drops him down the order to P3. So it's Roberto Perina, Dylan Medler, and Matt Kojewski. Apologies to you, Ludovica, but I had to bring that news first.
Cameron, congratulations. This weekend was the best weekend for you. Can you tell more about your race of today?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Today was more difficult than I thought. It was dry. I went a little too hard at first. I had a great start. Then I almost lost it like 5 times. When it got rainy, it was like ice on there. I'm sure you guys saw that at home. Everyone's going dramatically slower. It was like racing in slow motion, doing everything not to put the car off the road. It was a fun time, though.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Cameron Root, what a star you are. There's Jeffrey Nunberg being congratulated there. Jeffrey Nunberg then, he has taken the win for Copa Shell, and well done to Jeffrey Nunberg. To my reckoning, that's his first win of the season, which is somewhat surprising, I have to be honest with you. Look at the delight down there on the faces of our drivers. Absolutely brilliant stuff. It's a real melee down there. So just to repeat the news that I was bringing you just before we went down to Ludovica, and that is that car number 221 has been given a time penalty of plus 25 seconds for causing a collision. And that is Matt Kojewski. That's Omar Balkasu. That is, the penalty has been awarded to Matt Kojewski. He still gets podium, P3, but that elevates Dylan Medler into P2. So there we have it. And there's Roberto, and they're having that conversation. Here's Frank Szczesniak, and there is Cameron Root. And let's go back to Ludovica right now.
Jeffrey, congratulations. What type of race was today?
Mixed. It was an exciting race. It was a lot of dry racing, and but then the rain came and really was helped a lot. So I'm fortunate for the rain today. It was good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the risk of sounding an odd one, I've spent a bit of time in the back of Jeffrey Nunberg's trailer, and we've had many conversations. And there you can see him being congratulated by Bruce Cleveland. And Bruce Cleveland, of course, taking P2 in Shell Am. Taking P3 is Roger Monteforte. So well done to Jeff Nunberg. Great to see. And as I mentioned there's Frank Szczesniak, who had a torrid time of it yesterday, having a discussion with Cameron Root there, and another 2 wonderful gentlemen and top drivers. And, well, you can see them all down there. Some smiling more than others, and, yeah. Fantastic stuff. Handshakes all around. The camaraderie is absolutely wonderful to see and enjoy here in Ferrari Challenge North America. Drivers will be heading off up to the podium in due course, of course. And 4 podiums to come for Pirelli Am, for Shell, and for Shell Am also. There is Justin Rothberg. Good conversations going on there. Justin is a great fun guy, I have to say. And they're congratulated by all and sundry down there in the pit lane. Confirmation of the result as it is now then. Roberto Perina taking P1 for Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Dylan Medler and Matt Kojewski. They the top 3 Pirelli drivers. For Pirelli Am, it's Justin Rothberg ahead of Mark Musso and Omar Balkasoon. For the Shell drivers, it's Cameron Root ahead of John Viscup and Frank Szczesniak. And for the Shell Am drivers, it's Jeffrey Nunberg, Bruce Cleveland, and Roger Monteforte. And once again, let's go down there with, I think, our race winner here is Ludovic.
Roberto, for today, even yesterday you made a perfect race, but I want to concentrate for race 2, so you can tell us more about today.
Yeah, I didn't get away very well from the start, and Matt got away really well, but just through the beginning laps, I was able to manage to reel him in, and it just felt like the car came to me, and then when it started raining, it really came to me. Like the conditions suits my style, and it was great. But honestly, I have to thank Matt for a very good race yesterday and today. It was fantastic. And I have to thank my team for a perfect car, the support from my family and my wife and my kids and my brother who's here and my mom and dad who can't be here. But 23 years ago, my dad and I came to a Finale Mondiale, and I said, we're going to race here someday. And Dad, we did it. We did it. We won.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, Roberto, I've got a tear in my eye now. Wow. What a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that with us. So there you have it. Here come the highlights to music now. Enjoy. Those were the highlights. Now powered by AWS. These are the race statistics. And, well, total overtakes in Trofeo Pirelli, 14. Total overtakes in Trofeo Pirelli AM, 45. Best progress in Trofeo Pirelli, Dylan Medler, up 2 places. Best progress in Trofeo Pirelli AM, Mark Muso, up 18 places. Wow, what about that? Please follow us on @Ferrari Races. Wow. What statistics they are from Pirelli. Now take a look at this lot from Copichel. Now, very unusually, total overtakes for Copichel and Copichel AM are absolutely the same. 39 apiece in each of the categories. Best progress, Jeff Viska making up 17 places. Jeff Numberg, 9. Fantastic stuff. All powered by AWS, our race statistics from the Ferrari Challenge, North America. We're going to be heading up to the podium very, very soon. And as I mentioned, we've got some 4 podiums to work our way through. Pirelli, Pirelli AM, Shell, and Shell AM. Here's Daniel Mancinelli standing by, ready to salute those that are making their way up to the podium right now. It's a couple of flights of steps up to the podium from here in Mugello. And I can already hear the dulcet tones of Michele Mambelli inviting the drivers to join them on the podium. It should be Pirelli, first of all, taking P3. Here comes Matt Kojewski. Taking P2, we're going to see on the second step of the podium, Dylan Medler. And then on the top step of the podium, Roberto Perina, who decided when visiting Finale Mondiale, I am going to race in this. And he has raced and won here. Well done, Roberto Perina, top step of the podium. And, of course, National Anthem.
Our clubs, I nostri applausi per questi vincitori per questo primo podio. I trofei d'onore sono presentati da Lilou Vadou, Ferrari
Lilou Vadou then is going to make the trophy presentations. Makayevsky then receiving the P3 trophy from Lilou then, a Ferrari official GT driver. Dylan Medler receives the second place trophy. And Roberto Perena receiving his trophy right now. And Pirelli trophy awarded once to Roberto Perena as well, double bubble in terms of the trophy count. All the drivers will get together on the top step of the podium, and then the photographs will be taken before the champagne race gets underway.
Okay.
Who is going to be winning that, I wonder? Well, the Ferrari of Seattle car for Roberto Perena did enough to send him to the top step of the podium. Had such a great race yesterday, and he was very, very pleasant in terms of the way he described the races, and great camaraderie between those top three. And we'll clean up the podium, and then standing by for the Pirelli Am podium, which will be the next one. So, trophy collected by Roberto Perena. And of course, world final race still to come, and we've got the qualifying for the world final races to come tomorrow. So lots of track activity for you still to enjoy, and of course the wonderful Ferrari show to come here at Mugello on Sunday. Here comes the Pirelli Am podium then. We should be seeing Omar Balkasoon, Mark Musso and Justin Rothberg. Those were in reverse order. Sure enough, here comes Omar Balkasoon to step 3, to step 2. It'll be Mark Musso. There's Mark. And then on the top step of the podium, Justin Rothberg. So once again, the national anthem will play out for our top 3 in Pirelli Am. Applausi, if you would be so kind. Why not? Here comes the trophy presentations then, and Lilou is going to make those. First of all to Omar Balkasoon. And then second place being awarded to Mark Musso, but the big trophy with P1 on it goes to Justin Rothberg. And of course the Pirelli trophy as well. Hold on to them both there, Justin. Don't be dropping neither, friend. Trophies are held up with a certain smile as well. And right, we want a photo with Lilou in there as well. Top step of the podium, gents and ladies, if you will.
Okay.
And then Miss Vadou will make her exit stage left very quickly before the champagne race starts. In my money, it's going to be Omar Balkasoon quickest here. Yeah, for sure. For sure, it was a slam dunk for Omar from P3. He got that champagne race won and done and dusted. Justin Rothberg then, Ferrari of Palm Beach, race winner in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Stand by, still podiums to come.
Okay, e siamo pronti. We are ready for the third podium, shell class. Third on the podium, Frank Szczesniak.
Here comes Frank Szczesniak.
Second on the podium, John Wiskup. And the winner is Cameron Root.
John Wiskup, P2, and there's Cameron Root. Pretty happy onto the top step of the podium, turn of 2. National anthem time.
And the trophy are presented by Lilou Vadou, Ferrari official GT driver.
So trophy presentation made to our P3 driver Frank Szczesniak. And next up, of course, it is John Viscup to receive his. And now the race winners trophy to Cameron Root.
Okay, and please together, guys, on the first step of this podium with Lilou Vadou too.
Lilou Vadou joins in the podium photographs then for the focus of the world's media attention that is on all our drivers in Finale Mondiale here in Ferrari Challenge. Who's going to win the champagne race? My goodness me, Kevin, you don't bust the bottle there, Cameron. My goodness, there was some force there. I don't know who did that. I think it was probably Mr. Root by an edge. Well done to those, and here you can see the 399 car, which is the Ron Tonkin Gran Turismo car that has delivered yet another victory for Cameron Root. Just looking at the statistics for Cameron, it's been just so consistent, and it's only over the last 4 races that he's taken a clean sweep of wins, but he's been scoring valuable points all the way through, and points make prizes, and in terms of prizes, it means he is the Shell champion. Sealed that yesterday. So still one more podium to go. It is the Shell Am podium, where we will be seeing Roger Monteforte, Bruce Cleveland, and Jeffrey Nunberg on the top step of the podium. Here they come then as Michele Mambelli brings these drivers out for their podium celebrations. Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver, first of all, Roger Monteforte. Then we will see the Ferrari Silicon Valley driver, Bruce Cleveland. And then on the top step of the podium for Ferrari of Central New Jersey, Jeffrey Nunberg. National anthem time. Of course, Lisa Clark, forgive me. Best lady as well, only just off the podium, finishing P5 in the race overall, and best gentleman racer to be in there as well, Dana Goodwin. Here comes the national anthem. Anthem plays out then, and baseball caps go back on, as you can see. Roberto Perina staying to salute those drivers on the podium as well. That's really sportsmanlike, isn't it? As in receipt of his trophy is Roger Monteforte. Bruce Cleveland receives his. And now on the top step of the podium is going to be Jeffrey Nunberg to receive a trophy. Well done, Jeff. Lisa Clark, who of course, let's get big Lisa Clark up here, winning the Shell Am Championship. And their final trophy being presented by Lilou Vadou. Now, how the heck we're going to fit everyone onto the top step of the podium, Michele? You're asking for a big ask here. That ain't going to happen, friend. So we'll get as many drivers as we can together for the photographs to be taken by the media. And there you can see trophies being held aloft, and enjoy the moment. And here we can see the car of Jeffrey Nunberg for Ferrari of Central New Jersey that delivered the race win for Jeff. Well done. And there we have it, the final race in the 2023 season for our Ferrari Challenge North America drivers. But bear in mind, they've still got their world final race to come as well. Right, there we have it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, follow us on @Ferrari Races. And of course, join us tomorrow for qualifying for the World Finals to come on Sunday. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.